All right, Warhammer The Old World. I have been waiting to play this game, been working on some models, still some work in progress on the Dwarf Army, but got a chance this past week to play a 2,000 point game. Brought my Dwarfen Mountain Holes, which I don't know why they don't call it Dwarven, but and then it gets some Warriors of Chaos, just 2,000 points. So basic kill scenario. This is a learning game where, looking back on it, I think we both of us got tons of stuff wrong. So just keep that in mind. I don't even think this game has any really strategic value because so many things we got wrong. I think this is more about my experience with this first game and sort of, what I thought. Let's look at my army list. I'm good again. Let's just sort of don't take this army list with a grain of salt because I sort of forgot tons of stuff. But I did have a king. Um, Generally pretty defensive with a two runes of shielding and a rune of preservation. I've got a standard bearer that has got the standard bear, and it has the master root of the master root of grungy. That's the 5 up. That's the 5 up ward save, and then 6 is against shooting. Super good one. It's expensive, but I really like that. We then got a runesmith, the rune of spell breaking and the rune of balance. So just kind of a dispel and then an extra d6 to help me. For core, I've just got some thunderers. I've got 3 units. One is below. All these guys are armed with shields because I want to take advantage of the shield wall and the Grommel weapon. So the Longbeards, switching them out, I used to always run them with great weapons, but now with the Grommel weapons and the shield wall, I'm actually trying them with hand weapons. Some just dwarf warriors that I just have with shields. No, I'm definitely moving away, or I'm trying an army without all just great weapon spam. This is my last unit of Thunderers. With shields specials, I've got 16 Iron Breakers. And then I've got a unit of hammers. They've got so I've got a champion with the rune of passage on him, and then I've got the rune of confusion, which is disorder charges against them, which is super good with hammers. One gyrocopter that I have the Drake gun, and then I've got some Iron Drakes that I've given the Drake. I've given the Troll Hammer torpedo. So I think Iron Drakes are super good. I like that they got the +1. They dropped their weapon skill and gave them a +1 ballistic skill. All right, just for the setup, we'll just look at the armies. You can see both of us are working on this nicely painted Chaos army. So he's got some horsemen. He's got these the unit in the middle. That's the, I guess they're called possessed. And then he's got his unit of Chaos Warriors that has his champion. Has his leader, his lord, and he's got a level 4 sorcerer in there. 2 units of chimeras, and then he's also got a couple of unit of horsemen as well. So I've got a gyrocopter. So those are my Iron Breakers that I'm working on. I've got some dwarf warriors, some Iron Drakes. Then I've got my units of thunderers. I may try and I'm looking to try and make some extra bases that are a little longer. And then I've got my 20-man unit of hammers that I got my runesmith running in. I'm running them 10 strong, which I think that's an interesting idea, is running some 10-man blocks. I've got my Longbeards with my lord in there, just on the shield bearers. So this is the setup. So you see he's got his Chimera running on a flank with some horsemen. He's got his Possessed and Chaos Warriors in the center. And so the Chaos Warrior squad, again, that has his level 4 mage and his lord. So pretty punchy unit. He's then got some Marauders to the right. So these are more chaff. He's got his second Chimera and some more Marauder horsemen as well. So for me, started setting up, and I'll be frank with you, like I definitely made some mistakes setting up and putting my Longbeards behind my Thunderers. I'm so used to playing Kings of War where you can move through your units. So, and the other thing that again, I made a lot of mistakes, but the other thing that threw me off this game is that with the larger bases, they do take up more room, I guess, than I was planning. So just sort of keep that in mind, that I definitely made some mistakes with those Longbeards. We'll get into that later. And then my unit of Dwarf Warriors are on the far flank. And yeah, that's just my Iron Drakes. on that left, and then the gyrocopter in the center, along with the ironbreakers, sort of protecting the flank of the hammers. Yeah, it's just the picture is there. Yeah, that's just a picture of the battlefield before we begin. So he does get to go first. Yeah, this is just some Marauder horseman with a chimera. This is just his side of the field. It's just showing his perspective. He sees that, as he calls it, a gun line, and it is an actual line of dwarfs that have guns. So he is correct in that. All right, top of turn one, Chaos Warriors. They do get to go first. So the first thing he gets his Gaze of the Gods, and I think he gets a 3, and then his Sorcerer gets a 6. So I think that's like a leadership strength. So he moves up. So he puts his horseman in front of his possessed as sort of like a protection. He gets his chimera. I think his chimera didn't want to get shot by those iron drakes and that troll herb or torpedo. So he moves towards the center to get into cover. Just moves everyone up a little bit. So he does cast the spell. He casts the Steed of Shadows, and this is actually, he casts it and then he forgets about it. So you're going to see on my turn, these Marauders are actually like 17 more inches right in front of my army. We let him move it after the fact. So he did cast Steed of Shadows on those Marauders, and then he moves them up on my turn when he remembers. This is him just advancing up the Horseman and the Chimera as well, and as you're going to see those Marauders teleport right in front of my troops next turn. So he also casts this spell. I don't know what it is, but it's somehow sort of dangerous terrain in the center that if you get touched by it, you take hits. So he just casts that in the center of the army. All right, bottom of turn one, I do get to go first with my dwarves. So this is just random movement. His spell is just moving around the middle of the battlefield. So that was just taken care of. I just scooched up a little bit. I did move my hammers in range to dispel his mage. So I'm only a level 1, so it's only 18 inches for me. I take that gyrocopter and I sort of put it between the difficult terrain of those iron breakers. And then my iron drakes move up just to get shots on. Yeah, and this is just him showing that, like, again, he uses that steed and so he moves a lot further. So that's actually where he is now. So we just let him do it after the fact. Both of us are just learning this game, so it's a fun game. So that's just showing the picture of that. You can see I basically just stood still. My Longbeards, nothing really moved. I actually moved back a couple of inches with my dwarf warriors on the bottom. Yeah, and that's just the picture. So the drakes, they actually just shoot they shoot those horse warriors. They kill 2 of them. I think, yeah, but they passed their panic test. And these guys, actually, I just shoot into them. I killed like 6 of them, and that's enough to force them to have a panic test. They're outside of the leader's range, so they fail. So they actually, they panic and flee. And yeah, pretty good for me. It's the top of turn 2, and it is the Chaos Warriors. So this is just our random movement for that spell. It's just moving over to the side a little bit. So I think he gets a spell off. That little pink square is a buff that he puts on the unit. And I think he gets the Eye of the Gods again with something else. The Eye of the Gods are happening here. He does take his Martyr Horsemen. I guess because they're skirmishers, he charges my gyrocopter. He only gets 2 in range. So yeah, we looked and we found out those guys are skirmishers. He moves up. I think, oh yeah, those Marauders I think continue to flee. He just actually moves further up with both of those 2 units. So he marches. So this is something that actually took us a while to figure out. He thought that he could march and use his breath weapon on my warriors. So we actually it took us a little while just to sort of look it up, and we actually found it in the FAQs that you can't march and shoot a breath weapon anymore. But it's weird that like they don't classify breath weapons as shooting attacks. They actually FAQ'd it. So, but he did I think he just chose just to march and get in the flank of my warriors. So, like I said, it's definitely us just sort of learning these rules. I think he threw some throwing axes into my dwarf warriors. I don't think he did a wound on them. And that's just showing the picture of the battlefield, him just advancing forward. In combat, yeah, we basically trade a wound apiece. So he does one wound my gyrocopter, I do one wound, and we basically stick. All right, so the bottom of turn 2, my dwarfs again. So, I think more random movement from the spell. So the Ironbreakers go into the flank of those horsemen. I move up my my hammers a little more, and that's just showing the flank of the Ironbreakers. The other thing I do is actually reform my Longbeards, seeing that it looks like these Thunderers aren't going to get charged. So I actually just reformed them. I'm still. It's really funny during this game. Both me and my opponent, we played Warhammer a long time ago, and we also played Kings of War. So we're like literally mixing up all of these rule sets. We're like, We're like, keep some of us thinks it's like. I'm like, does this work like it is in 8th edition, or is it Kings of War? So we're all just sort of just getting used to these new rules. But I did reform my Longbeards to face that flank, and then I actually just wheeled my dwarf warriors just so I don't give my flank to those chimera or the horsemen. Yeah, so that's just a little bit of movement. My Drake shot into that chimera and do 2 wounds into him. And yeah, the rifles fire. They kill one of those horsemen, and then the others shoot into those marauders. I think they kill a few more of them. So the Ironbreakers kill the gyrocopter. They basically reform so that they're in the front, and then the gyrocopter just stays there. By the way, I forgot so many things in this game, like so many. I forgot the vanguard move of the gyrocopter. Like there's so many things I just forgot this game. Turn 3 for the Chaos Warriors. So he just chooses just to move up right in front of him, and he's just going to shoot these warriors with the breath and with the marauder axes, I believe. He does rally his marauders in the center, and I think that spell continues to just move around. He charges the Ironbreakers with the Chimera and with the possessed. These possessed are like super good, and he forgot so many rules. These guys have like D3 plus 1 attack because they have Furious Charge. They also have Hatred, which he forgot, and they get a random ability. Like these possessed are crazy good. He actually breaths, and he rolls great and actually kills 6 of these warriors. And these warriors roll an 11 and they panic and they flee. So it's so cinematic that we were laughing because like they're literally, these beardlings are running and they hear these longbeards just like looking right in front of them, being like, "You beardlings, how dare you run away!" So I think it's just the cinematic quality of these beardlings running, and here's these like Longbeards just rolling their eyes as they run in front of them. So, but yeah, it was sort of funny that they did roll an 11 and they panicked. So yeah. Okay, so then there's combat. So I think he rolled okay, but I rolled great saves. I think he was getting like -1 AP, but like I was rolling like, I think I needed like a 3 or 4 up, but like all my failures were 1s, so I'm re-rolling with that Grommel armor. I rolled great. He only killed 1 with both of those, and I think we stick. I think he wins. I'm not sure. But yeah, I think they ended up sticking. So that's just more random movement for the spell on my turn, and then so I do rally those warriors. They see the Longbeards and they choose to rally. The rifles actually shoot off those horsemen, and then the Longbeards are actually just still stuck. Like it's actually pretty frustrating. I've got this really. I should have just moved my lord out of those Longbeards, but I wasn't like thinking. You were just. Again, there's so much learning in the game. I do get a flank charge onto those possessed with my hammers, and I actually charge the gyrocopter into them as well. So I'm hopefully going to try and blow up these possessed. I think the Drakes, since the Chimera is in combat, they just march up. So yeah, the Thunderers also shoot these Marauders. There's only 4 left, but they do pass with their panic with the leader. So actually, I think I don't roll great, and he rolls pretty good saves. He actually kills my gyrocopter, and then I don't kill. I think my hammers just sort of whiff. So actually, I kill enough, but I barely don't kill enough that I would have doubled him. I think he's got like 11 and I've got 12. I needed to kill like one more and I would have doubled him. And those possessed would have fled. Now they just fall back in good order, and they go through the Chimera, which I think the Chimera passes a panic test. We weren't sure, but he passed it anyway. The gyrocopter did die. So again, lots of stuff that we probably messed up on, but we're just having a blast here. The Ironbreakers go into the Chimera. I think both of them don't wound. I think he kills one, but I actually beat the Chimera with like, I think just static combat res. The Chimera is only leadership 5, so the Chimera actually flees, and that actually frees the possessed to charge. I actually would have rather that Chimera not flee, but so the possessed can actually charge the charge there. Oh yeah, that's fun. And that's just a picture of that. So yeah, that's just a picture of my line still forming up, and yeah, so that's just a picture of that Chimera. All right, so yeah, that's just some more pictures after the game. I think this is on his turn. He fails to rally the Chimera, and the Chimera does run back. Turn 4, it is the Chaos Warrior. So I think that actually happened. That last picture was the Chimera running. So yeah, the Chimera continues to flee, and that actually frees him up. Those possessed can now charge again. So that's actually good. He chooses to go into the Ironbreakers, and I think that's a smart thing. Those hammers with that Ruin of Confusion, I think, is just in that stalwart defender is like super good, super good. And by the way, all the shield walls and all the stubborns, I forgot all that stuff. It's so funny. Like I literally built the army to take advantage of shield wall, and I never used shield wall. I completely forgot about it all game. But so he does go into the Ironbreakers. He also fireballs the hammers. So another thing that really has been crappy this game is that I bought this Ruin of Balance, which supposedly lets me, what I thought it was, is you roll 3d6 to just dispel one spell, but it turns out it's you roll 3d6 and take the highest. So he probably would have been getting off more spells than he did this game. That's a mistake on my part where I didn't read the master. I still think it's good, but it's not that good where you just like get 3d6. It's 2d6, take the highest. So, or 3d6 and take 2 of the highest. Anyway, he does fireball my hammers and he kills a couple of them. That ward save, I really like this ward save on hammers. So he actually rolled, I think his possessed, man, they're super good, and he gets the +2 AP. So he kills four Ironbreakers, and I kill one of his. They fall back again. I forget all about the shield wall. They just fall back in good order. So, and he follows up. So, but those possessed are like super crazy good. He does flame. So he doesn't choose the charge. He chooses to flame. I think he flames my Longbeards and my Thunderers. He kills one of the Thunderers. But that 4-up armor is like super good on my army. So bottom of 4, it is the Dwarfs. So I go ahead and just combo charge. I charge with the Thunderers and I charge with the Warriors. Maybe actually just to try to free up my Longbeards who sort of face the center. His Marauders, this remaining 4-man squad did still move up and like probably going to get shot to death. I go ahead and I charge into his Chaos Warriors with my hammers. And then the Drakes shoot at the Chimera, but I don't wound him. I think I miss. He's in cover and long range. This is just more fighting. Those Thunderers, they shoot off that 4-man squad of Marauders. And then, I think I charged the Chimera. I don't think either of us rolled great, but I think with static combat res, I beat him. And he actually just breaks. He runs. And then, so I think we had this combat. My champion challenged his lord. So he kills my champion. We trade wounds. And the other thing that was really weird is that his sorcerer actually, I guess, is able to cast his spells on my turn, which felt weird. I think that's correct. It's just, I don't know, but apparently you can cast hand-to-hand spells on your opponent's turn, which to me felt a little weird, but I guess, that's what it is apparently, so that's fine. So, we just trade wounds. All right, top of turn 5, Chaos Warriors. So the Chimera flees off the board. Good for me. This spell actually it finally hits a unit, hits my Thunderers, and kills one of them. So, yeah, those Thunderers, I think they pass their morale. I think in this combat he doesn't roll great. I think I actually beat him in combat, and he falls back in good order. And I believe I follow up after that. Yeah. So this is just more trading where the Hammerers and the Chaos Warriors are trading now. I think we kill 3 apiece. I think I end up falling back. I give ground. Again, I forget all about the stubborn. I just forget about it. So it's fine. But he does follow up on me too. Yeah. Okay. So that's all that sort of happened. The bottom of 5. So by the way, this is the last turn. We just chose to end it a turn early. So that just keep in mind, this is the last turn of the game. So on the last turn, the thing moves around and kills another dwarf, but passes his morale. The Iron Drakes actually flank these possessed. So, and then yeah, that's just showing the center. You can see these Longbeards and my big expensive lord never got to fight this game. So fairly bad positioning on my part. So I actually roll terrible in hand-to-hand against. Remember, I got a flank and everything. I don't kill a single one. I think I literally, out of all these hits, got like 2 hits and he saved them. So actually, these guys they don't fail because like I think I still beat him, but he I think he passes it just because I roll terrible. So yeah, actually I think we stick or something, and yeah, so that was sort of funny that like even though I flanked him, I just rolled terrible and I wasn't able to kill him. He actually rolls great. So his Chaos Lord's super good, and he's got that sorcerer too who's casting these point blank spells. Actually kills 5 of those hammers, but I think that we fall back in good order, I believe. Yeah. So anyway, that's the end of the game. It is a dwarf victory? Question mark. We stopped a turn early. I think he could have maybe won. I mean, I don't know if he could have killed the hammers. I mean, it's so funny that even after the game, like both of us, like we saw so many things that we missed, just forgot this rule and like, but we had a blast, and I would say, the rules could have been written better. Like it feels like they didn't do a good job of sort of organizing things. So I'm glad we had the FAQ there, but it is hard to. And the other thing is, both of us are, again, sometimes we're pulling rules from. Sometimes we're pulling rules from 8th edition. Sometimes we're pulling rules from Kings of War. Yeah, I mean, like we really just. It was just honestly just a lot going on. But key thing, we had fun. That's the most important part. All right, so some learning points. One of the things that sort of threw me off in this game is that the morale system is weird. There's like all these different types of tests. So it's not just the leadership test. There is panic test. Panic tests don't count as a leadership, or they do. And then you have break tests, and break tests don't count as leadership tests. I don't know. It felt the morale system is weird in that you have all these different leadership tests, but they're not. They're all classified differently. So like psychology and panic and break tests and things, they're all feel. It's sort of weird that they all classify them differently. So that's sort of weird to me. The movement as well was much more restrictive. Just the whole. I'm used to Kings of War where you don't pay for wheels, and just it does the movement system does feel very restrictive. I just need to get used to it. The other thing that just sort of threw me off was the casting spells in hand-to-hand on your opponent's turn. It feels a little wonky to me that you basically, I think when we got in hand-to-hand, he was casting spells every phase, I believe, because apparently there are 2 hand-to-hand phases. So like his wizard was just like on his turn he was casting hand-to-hand spells. On my turn he's casting hand-to-hand spells, and I'm like, that felt a little weird. The other thing, yeah, paying for wheels also was a little unintuitive, where it's, I don't know, sometimes things that seem like a very simple charge, they actually could not make the charge because you're going to pay so much for wheels. I don't know. we had a blast. It, like I said, I had a lot of fun time, and I think I can get used to the rules. But I think coming from some different systems, it is. I'm sort of reminded about some of the clunkiness in these rules. Well, hey, thanks for watching. I'm going to play more games of Old World. I mean, at the end of the day, I had a blast. It's just a few things that I noted, and I'm had a blast. We're going to play more games. So if you're, I'd love to get feedback. I know I missed a ton of rules, so yeah. But we'd love to like, subscribe, and comment if you can. And if you're in Austin, you can always join the Austin Alternative Gaming Freaks. Thanks so much.